Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about variables and data types. A variable works just like it does in algebra. You assign a value to the variable and then you can plug it in anywhere you need to use it. So in order to declare a variable in C#, we need three parts. We need a data type, we need a name for the variable, and we need to assign it a value. Alright, value. So in order to do that, we're going to use some keywords. The keywords represent the different data types we can use as our variables. So the most commonly used ones for numbers is going to be int, which is an integer, and we're going to name it whole number. And we can name it anything we want, and we're going to assign it the value of 7, which is a great number. Another important thing to note is that variable names are case sensitive. So this whole number with a lowercase is different than this whole number with an uppercase. So that's just something to be aware of. These are two different variables. For decimal places, the most commonly used data type is called a double. So we can say double decimal number, and we can set that equal to whatever decimal we want. So we can set it to, 4.678, and that would be fine. Next is going to be a bool, or a boolean, which is true or false. So we can say bool is true, and we can set that equal to true or false. Now you see those are keywords themselves. They're also blue. These are built into the language. And you notice that when I'm typing in numbers, I don't use any quotations or anything, because the quotations are for strings. So we can do a string name equals Matt. So inside of the quotations, you could type any text you want. That's what we're doing here. We're using a string. So inside this right line, we're printing whatever string that we want to put in here. So what we could do, let's change this from name to greeting, and change this to hello, Matt. And what we can do is anywhere there's a string, we can actually replace that string with the variable that we want to use. So we'll say greeting. See, I'm not putting this inside quotations. This variable represents a string. It is of type string. So because it is of type string, the value assigned to it basically gets replaced into here. So if we run the program now it says hello Matt. And I can close this. And of course I can type any message I want. We can type any text here. Now there's another way to do this. Let's say I do go back to where this variable is called name. What I can do is I can delete world, and I can actually close off the string and add another string to it. This is called concatenation, and we'll talk about this later on. But if you wanted to do it this way, again, you're taking a string and appending basically the next string to it. All right. So instead of this string here, we can put name. So we can actually write hello plus name and put it together. And you'll see what happens is it says hello Matt. And the reason there's no space, and this is something you do when you do string formatting, is you'll just put a space here. Something like that, or maybe a comma and a space. And then that way it won't be right next to each other, it'll give you that space. All right, so that's a little string formatting as well. We'll definitely talk about that later. And essentially that's how you use variables. So if we wanted to, we can write some more to the console. So console dot write line, and here you see as I start typing, the IntelliSense filters down and shows me only things with the word write. So I'm going to choose write line, and I can hit tab, and it'll autofill, put my parentheses, and then I want to print a number. So I can say print whole number. Okay, I'm going to copy this line, and I'm going to print decimal number, and I'm also going to print is true. Now, each of these, when you use something like a number, even though this you would normally put a string in, it'll actually accept, if it's just a single number, it'll convert it automatically to a string for you and then print it out. So that's going to happen automatically. So what we should see is hello Matt, the number 7, the number 4.678, and then false in here. All right, so that's what we're going to expect to see. And we run it, and there you go. On each line, it prints the variables we told it. So I'm going to put up a chart now. These are all the keywords that are available for the different data types in C#. You could see what type it is, signed or unsigned. If it's an integer, that's basically signed can have positive and negative. Unsigned can only have positive. You can see the width, which is the bit length. So an int is a 32-bit integer. That's the level of precision. And the range is the actual values that it can hold. So you can hold any number within that range if it's a number type, integer, or a floating type, like a float or a double. And you can see that it has to do with the precision of the types. So that's basically it. That's how you use variables. That's what data types are. You don't have to memorize every data type, but it is good to know that there are some limitations. For, like an int can only have values between, the range that you see here. So just something to note. And that's about it for this video. So we're going to get into the next video. We're going to start talking about conditional logic, if statements, and that's where you can really handle how the program's going to flow and make decisions based on user input or anything else that you need. And that's how we do it. So we're going to come back in the next video, and we're going to start talking about if statements and conditionals. All right, see you next time.